If you're trying to break into commercial real estate today, there are some pretty uncomfortable truths about this industry that most people don't want to talk about, but these can have very real impact on your ability to land jobs and build a successful career long term. While it's very possible to make a lot of money in this business and ultimately have a very good lifestyle in the process, this isn't always as simple as working hard in school and following a traditional path. So in this video, I want to walk through 4 things about commercial real estate careers that I've learned in my 10 plus years in this business that most people won't tell you, but can have a huge impact on your success in this industry and how quickly you ultimately get to where you want to be. So the first thing I want to talk about is that where you went to school absolutely matters in this industry, but not in the way that you might think. In industries like investment banking and consulting, a lot of firms will only recruit from what are referred to as target universities, which can make it really tough to break into these industries if you're not coming out of one of these schools. But in commercial real estate, there are very few companies that will restrict the recruiting to only these programs, and in general, a 4-year degree is all that's required to get your foot in the door. But with that said, where you choose to go to school can have a major impact on your career trajectory in a very different way, and this is because of the alumni network your university is able to offer. Alumni connections can help you land interviews, find equity partners and lenders, and ultimately have access to internships and full-time job opportunities that in many cases aren't even broadly advertised. I would also say that with relatively few exceptions, the city your school is located within can be one of the biggest determinants of where you end up, since the majority of the alumni base at many universities will end up working locally over the long term. This ultimately means that if you go to USC, the majority of your alumni network is going to be in LA. If you go to NYU, the majority of your alumni network will be in New York. And if you know where you want to be after graduation, this should be a major consideration when choosing where you want to go to school. I would also say that as much as it isn't fun to talk about, student loan debt can be a huge drag on your career options when you're first starting out, especially if you have aspirations to start your own company. So I would also look to minimize the cost of your education whenever that's possible. A lack of student loan debt can help free you up to do things like take unpaid internships, start out at a lower salary at a smaller, more entrepreneurial firm where there might be more room to grow overall, or even to put together your own deals early on in your career. So if you have the ability to either stay in state for school or choose a university that's willing to offer you a significant amount of scholarships or merit aid, this is something to very seriously consider. Now, the next thing I want to mention is especially tough for people who consider themselves introverts, and this is that, in my experience, the most aggressive networkers in this industry tend to find the best opportunities. The people who send out the highest number of cold emails and LinkedIn messages, set up the highest number of in-person meetings and phone calls, and show up to the highest number of networking events and conferences are typically the people that find internships, full-time jobs, and equity partners a lot more quickly than their peers. Now, I know firsthand that it can feel really uncomfortable to send out emails to complete strangers or step into a room where you don't know anyone, but these are the things that most people around you won't be willing to do that can set you very far apart from your peers in this industry. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't be successful at all if you're not particularly outgoing, and there's still a place for you in this industry, even if that's the case. But the reality is that relationships are primarily what drive this business, and the people who constantly put themselves out there are much more likely to find opportunities much more quickly than the people who are blindly submitting job applications without spending time building their network. Now, the third thing I want to talk about has to do with the application and interview process in this industry, and this is that people care most about what you can do for them. Even if you've worked extremely hard in school or you've overcome personal challenges to get where you are today, the people that are going to be reviewing your resume will place almost all of their focus on whether you can make their day-to-day workload easier overall. And this means that your main job when you're submitting your applications and talking with interviewers is to clearly describe how you can help your hiring manager get more done in less time, how you can make them look better to both clients and senior leadership, and how you can be trusted to do important work even when you're up against tight deadlines. And this means you need to shift your focus away from just yourself and your own personal accomplishments that might not have anything to do with the real estate industry in general to the needs of the company or your hiring manager directly, and then applying any related skills or experiences you have to the job that you'd be taking on. The best way I've found to come up with a strategy for this is to put yourself in your hiring manager's shoes and ask, what's in it for me if you were to hire yourself? And this will make it really clear how you can position your cover letter and your resume to maximize your chances of landing an offer. Now, the last thing I want to mention in this video is very applicable in today's real estate environment, and this is that when transaction activity slows, hiring in this industry tends to follow suit. This is exactly what we've seen since 2022, with transaction activity in some markets down 50 to 70% or more from the peak. And even though we're finally starting to see things pick back up from an investment sales perspective, if you're graduating in the spring of 2025, market conditions in this industry still aren't ideal. When brokers aren't making commissions, investment firms aren't generating acquisition fees, and developers are putting projects on hold, the main revenue drivers for these firms start to dry up really quickly, which results in less money to pay for overhead and ultimately to grow a team. This could also mean considering taking a job that isn't your first choice, but could be a stepping stone to your next opportunity. Or this could also mean considering relocating to a brand new city where transaction activity might be higher overall. The good news here is that if you're able to stick around when things are tough, you'll be entering the business at a time where a lot of your peers will be giving up and going into other industries altogether, which means that you'll have a smaller cohort of industry professionals as you move up the ranks over time, and ultimately less competition for more senior level roles when transaction activity inevitably starts to pick back up. So while some of these things are not the most fun to talk about, these are some really clear lessons that I've learned from spending almost 10 years working for a variety of different companies in commercial real estate. And if you want to learn more about the job search process in this business, and you want to make sure you have the technical skills you'll need to pass an Excel modeling exam that might be given to you during the interview process, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Breaking the CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You'll get access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, and you'll also get access to the Break into CRE Analyst Certification exam, which covers topics like real estate pro forma and development modeling, commercial real estate lease modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and many other real estate financial analysis concepts that will help you prove to employers that you have what it takes to tackle the responsibilities of an analyst or associate at a top real estate firm. And if you like this video and want to see more content on the channel on career advice like this, make sure to hit the like button to let me know, and let me know in the comments what other career related topics you'd like to see covered in a future video on the channel. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.